Jai Gurudev, thank you both for joining us today. We would like to explore how a devotee of the art of living might feel when they don't want to engage in their usual sadhana, kriya, asanas, seva, or even attend a satsang. Instead, they just feel like sleeping or playing video games. We will use the poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost to analyze this feeling and inspire more action through Karma Yoga. Could you share your thoughts? Jagadev, yes, it's natural for people, even devoted ones, to go through phases where they lose motivation. The key is to understand that this is part of the mind's nature. Sometimes it wants to avoid responsibility, seeking comfort in distractions like sleep or video games. But the deeper purpose of life is to stay active, to live consciously, and to uplift ourselves through sadhana, seva, and service. Let's look at the poem and analyze it line by line to bring clarity to this. Whose woods these are, I think I know. This line sets the tone for self reflection. The speaker acknowledges an awareness of where they are. This symbolizes knowing one's dharma or life purpose. When a devotee feels disconnected and only wants to play video games or sleep, it's important to first remember who they are and the path they are on. In the woods of life, we all have choices whether to pause and get lost in the distractions or to stay focused on our true goals. In the art of living, we talk about mindfulness. This line encourages us to become aware when we are being pulled away by the mind into inertia. Awareness is the first step. The moment we become aware that we are choosing comfort over growth, we can make a shift. His house is in the village, though. Here, the poet refers to the owner of the woods being in the village, meaning that while we wander away from our spiritual path, our true home, our center is always nearby. For a devotee, the house could represent the state of consciousness where you feel connected to your inner peace, your guru, or your community. Even if you feel far from your practice, know that you can always return. Exactly. We often stray in our minds, but Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankarji says that the mind can come back to the present moment through breath. That's why Kriya, Pranayama, and meditation are so vital. Even if the mind goes off into distractions, the breath is your way home to the present moment. He will not see me stopping here. The poet seems to say, no one will see me taking a pause. This represents the inner guilt we may feel when we are not fulfilling our responsibilities. When a devotee feels like skipping sadhana or seva, they might feel so no one will notice. But actually, the soul notices and our inner self is aware when we are not living up to our full potential. That's true. In Karma Yoga, responsibility is not about external accountability, but internal integrity. Even when no one is watching, we have a duty to ourselves. Our sadhana brings us back to that sense of duty and connection to a larger purpose. To watch his woods fill up with snow. This line is symbolic of watching time pass by. Snow represents stagnation, and the act of merely watching symbolizes inactivity. Similarly, when a devotee just wants to sleep or play video games, they are in a state of inaction, allowing time to pass without contributing positively to their life or society. Yes, it is easy to get stuck in the snow of laziness, but we teach that dynamic action is essential for personal growth and well being. Instead of watching life go by, we encourage everyone to actively participate, whether through meditation, service, or even smiling at a stranger. My little horse must think it queer. This is an interesting line. The horse symbolizes the body or mind, which is confused when we act against our natural purpose. Our bodies are designed for action, our minds for growth. But when we give in to inactivity, the body and mind begin to resist. They feel queer or out of sync. Right, and when you neglect your kriya or asanas, your body and mind may respond with fatigue, restlessness, or confusion. It's a signal to return to balance. That's why staying consistent with practice is key, even when you don't feel like it, because the body and mind thrive on discipline and rhythm. To stop without a farmhouse represents a goal or a shelter. A destination stopping without a clear purpose leads to a sense of being lost. In life, if you stop moving towards your goals, you feel this emptiness. That's why Karma Yoga emphasizes purposeful action. Even in small ways, doing something meaningful daily can bring fulfillment. That's beautifully said. The farmhouse can also be a metaphor for satsang or community, where we find spiritual nourishment. When you lose touch with your community, it becomes easy to feel unmotivated. Attending satsang can reignite that sense of belonging and purpose. Between the woods and frozen lake, the woods and frozen lake here represent stagnation and coldness and internal winter. When someone avoids their spiritual practice, they find themselves between these two extremes: confusion, woods, and numbness or frozen lake. Inactivity leaves them in this place of disconnect. Yes, and the antidote is movement, both physical and spiritual. Whether it's doing seva, engaging with others, or practicing yoga and meditation, movement helps us thaw the coldness of disconnection and brings warmth and vitality back into our lives. The darkest evening of the year, this could symbolize a time of great challenge, even when it feels especially difficult to move forward. Even devotees face dark nights of the soul, moments when they question everything or feel too tired to continue. But these are the times they call for the greatest perseverance. It is in those dark moments that your practice is most important. As Gurudev says, you don't meditate just for the good days. You meditate so that when the difficult days come, you have the strength to face them. Kriya and meditation give us the energy and clarity to navigate through the darkness. He gives his harshness bells a shake. The harshness bells here represent a wake up call. The body, mind, or even the universe will often give us signs that it's time to wake up from our inaction and return to our responsibilities. When we ignore these calls, life becomes stagnant. Absolutely. We all have these moments where something within us shakes us up, whether it's a health issue, a relationship challenge, or just a deep feeling of dissatisfaction. These are like harness bells reminding us to return to our path of action and spiritual growth, to ask if there is some mistake. Here, the poet seems to ask, am I on the wrong path? It's normal for devotees to question their choices when they feel unmotivated, but often the mistake is in the path itself. It is in the temporary distractions that pull us away. Yes, there is no mistake in walking the spiritual path. The mind may sometimes resist, but that's a normal part of growth. By sticking with our practice, we find that those distractions lose their hold on us and the clarity returns. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. This line symbolizes the quietness of inaction when there is no meaningful movement, only the soft distractions of life for a devotee. This is the sound of time slipping away without purpose, of missing out on the joy of Karma Yoga. Exactly, life becomes peaceful and joyful when we are in the flow of action. But when we stop and surrender to inertia, we miss out on the richness that service and practice bring. The easy wind and downy flakes are temptations of comfort, but they are not fulfilling in the long run. The woods are lovely, dark, and deep. The woods here symbolize temptation and distraction. They may seem lovely and inviting, but they are dark and deep, leading one away from higher purpose. Sleeping and playing video games might feel appealing in the moment, but they don't nourish the soul. The woods symbolize the distractions of the world, the allure of laziness, video games, or even endless entertainment. They may seem comforting in the short term, but they take us away from our spiritual growth and the higher call of responsibility. Staying there too long can leave us feeling lost or stuck in inertia. That's why the practice of awareness is so important. The woods are symbolic of the mind's tendency to seek temporary pleasures, but they don't bring lasting happiness. In the art of living, we teach that these distractions, while they may seem lovely or comforting, cannot provide a deeper satisfaction that comes from purposeful living. The woods, in this sense, are like the mind's habitual escape routes. They offer temporary relief but not true fulfillment. When we indulge too much in such activities, we lose sight of our deeper commitments to ourselves and society. But I have promises to keep. This is the turning point. The speaker remembers that despite the allure of the woods, they have promises to keep. This symbolizes one's duty to Dharma. As a devotee, you have made a commitment to your spiritual growth, your sadhana, and your community. These promises are the responsibilities that we all have, whether they be spiritual, personal, or professional. The same is about the responsibility that you take when you do Sandhya Vandanam or Upanayanam for the Gayatri Japa. The sacred thread symbolizes the responsibility that you take for your parents, for your guru, for knowledge, and for the society. In the art of living, we emphasize that life is about honoring your commitments, whether that's to yourself, your family, or society. It's easy to forget this when the mind craves comfort, but remembering the promises you have made helps you stay on track. Gurudev often says that responsibility brings strength and joy. By keeping your promises, especially to yourself, you stay connected to your higher purpose. And miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep. This line is about the journey ahead. Sleep here could symbolize rest, peace, or even the end of life. But before we reach that, the devotee, this means recognizing that life is a continuous journey of action, learning, and growth. There are miles to go in terms of fulfilling our purpose through karma yoga, sadhana, and service. Even when you feel tired or tempted to indulge in distractions, remember that your journey is not complete. You still have duties to fulfill and spiritual growth to achieve. Yes, this line is a beautiful reminder that life is about moving forward one step at a time in the art of living. We often talk about being dynamic and active while also balancing rest. The key is not to stop prematurely. There may be challenges or moments when you feel unmotivated, but that's when you must remember that there is still more to contribute to your own growth and to the world. This is where the power of consistent action or tapas comes in. It builds the resilience and destroy an energy you need to keep going and miles to go before I sleep. The repetition of this line and the refrain emphasizes the importance of perseverance. It's a gentle but firm reminder that we cannot afford to stop too soon. For a devotee, this could mean continuing with your daily sadhana, attending satsangs, engaging in seva, and fulfilling your duties, be it in job or office or business, even when it feels difficult. The spiritual path is long and requires dedication. Absolutely. This repeated line also speaks to the commitment to stay awake, both literally and metaphorically. In a spiritual sense, sleep can represent ignorance or inaction, and miles to go signifies that the path of awareness and conscious living is ongoing. It's about staying fully engaged with life and embracing the journey with enthusiasm rather than falling into lethargy or giving up too soon. How can this analysis of the poem inspire someone who is feeling disconnected from their spiritual practices or duties? This poem teaches us the value of staying true to our commitments. Even when the woods of distraction seem inviting, it's natural to feel tempted by comfort, but the journey of life is about fulfilling our dharma, whether it's through sadhana, service, or simply being there for others. The miles to go remind us that we are always on a journey, and stopping for too long can cause us to lose our way. Exactly, the poem encourages us to be mindful of our promises both to ourselves and to the world. When a devotee feels like abandoning their practices for temporary pleasures, it's important to remember the long term vision, Kriya, meditation, Seva. They are not just duties but tools that help us navigate life with clarity, peace, and joy. As Gurudev says, responsibility is your path. The more we take responsibility, the more dynamic and fulfilled we become. Thank you both for your insightful interpretations. The poem truly offers a powerful reminder to stay committed to your spiritual journey and to take action with purpose. Thank you. We hope this inspires everyone to keep moving forward on their path, embracing karma yoga and living with awareness. Jai Gurudev.